Hello, Virgo. Thank you for tuning into this week's read. For the main part of the read, I'm using the Bonefire Tarot by Gabby Angus West. For supportive oracle cards, Chakra Wisdom Oracle cards by Tori Hartman. Illustrated by Gretchen. Her last name is right there, in case you'd like to look that up. Alright, let's start. I already shuffled. There was another one that was a little complicated like this. What was going on around the environment seemed to make, like, whoever you're dealing with, whatever you're dealing with, there's external sources around that are complicating things. This is outside you. Okay. So, going into this situation, it's something you've been working on for a while. Something you've been putting a lot of effort into. It seems like it might be a little tedious because you got grief with the Three of Pentacles. It's either like you feel like it feels never ending. It feels never ending, and it's just kind of like it's a situation that seems to demand more and more and more and more. And it's kind of like you feel like you're getting deeper and deeper into it, and you don't want to. Alright, so that's what we're starting with. The enlightenment in the actual environment is kind of like, it's kind of like, alright, now I need to start talking with somebody. Like, other people are feeling the same way. Like, this is just getting deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. I'm putting more and more effort, and I'm not really seeing anything else come out of it. It's kind of like, you just keep, it's like you keep getting $10 out of the situation. Even though you put more and more and more and more effort, you just always get $10 out of the situation. It's the best way I can put it. It's like instead of going up 1 mile up a hill and getting $10, you're going 2 miles up a hill, getting $10, going 3 miles up a hill, getting $10, and you're like, I just keep putting in this effort. The enlightenment is saying you're finally seeing it for what it is. And it's not a sound investment anymore. It's just kind of like, no, this isn't right. It's kind of like it's bleeding out. It's bleeding you dry. More and more effort, nothing more out of it. No, this isn't right. So you're coming to terms with it, kind of like you're seeing it for what it is. Now in the environment, you got acceptance. Kind of like other people are thinking this is okay. It's kind of like, well, this is what it is. I don't think you're wanting to believe that, or I don't think you're not wanting to accept it. Acceptance is around you. Other people are like, well, that's what it is. This is just how it has to go. I'm not convinced you're like, oh, okay. I don't see you doing that. I actually see you with the Seven of Swords, kind of like, it's more your energy's at this point kind of like, am I really stuck with this? Am I really stuck with this? You don't want to accept it. You're like, this isn't right. This is it's like a bad investment. It's like a bad investment. Like, this isn't good. You constantly put in more and more and more and more and more, and you don't get anything extra out of it. It's holding the line. Like, this is not good. And you're seeing it kind of in a different light, kind of like, how far does it finally go before I just can't keep up with it, and then all of a sudden we're not getting anything out of it. So you're like, no, this is stressful for you. You're like, I can't, this is too much. This isn't right. So I feel like you're for a lot of you, you're finding something else. You're putting in the effort to kind of like wrap this up. You're like, this is going to have to change. I'm going to have to walk away from this and go towards something else. And you're at this point where you're like, no, this is too much. This isn't right. This is a bad investment. I got to get out of it. I got to start looking at ways to get out of it. I have to start moving things around to find a way to get out of this, because this isn't right. There has to be a change here. And I do see you with the Eight of Pentacles and the dissipating. You're slowly detaching from this. Whatever it is you're a part of, you are removing yourself from it. And for some of you, it's a job, and I get that. And the slow dissipating energy of this is kind of like you're out there job hunting, or you're out there looking online, and you're looking at, like, for some of you, I feel like you're like, well, I like that business, I wonder if they're hiring. So you go on their website and you look at their careers and like, oh, what is here with careers? Maybe I could do this. But it's not like you're jumping right into another job. You're just kind of, you're researching, you're seeing what's out there. You're starting to create this energy where you're going to apply for things. You're maybe not applying right off the bat, but you're like, it's out there. You know, if it's job related for you, you're starting that type of energy. I'm getting other people, it's like you're literally invested in something and it's not paying off. So you're like, I'm looking to find a way to unload this investment. You're also looking at it with reality, kind of like the longer I hold on to it, the less I get out of it. So the sooner I can get rid of it, the better this will be. But it's kind of like you're also researching, what can I do? Just the looking at options, just realizing it's out there. Like, and it is out there. The Ace of Cups is showing up in your environment, as in you're looking for things and you're finding possibilities. You're not jumping into anything in 2 seconds. I just feel like you're not going to do that. But I also feel like the fact that you're finding alternatives to do, finding other things to do with this situation, it's relieving a lot of stress. Just the looking seems to be relieving a lot of stress. Like, oh, okay, there are options. Okay, so that part is relieving, the fact that there are options. Ironically, the fact that there's a lot of options, there seems to be a few different ways you can take this now. That's where confusion pops in for you. Like, oh boy, okay, now what? I could do this, I could do that, or I could do this other thing. The thing is, for Virgo, and you probably know yourself well enough, kind of like, if I'm going to go towards something, I'm probably going to stick with it for a while to see if I really like it. I'm going to have to stick with it to see if it really fits me. And I don't want to just go to something where, like, I want to go towards something good, like normal. That's a normal reaction. Like, I want to go into something good, but I don't want to be, like, fooled. I've been suckered into things before, because, you know, we're all human. I think it happens to everybody. I mean, most of us have this moment where we're suckered into something thinking it's good. We get 10 miles down the road and we're like, oh, this was not what I thought it was going to be. And that's what you're concerned about. You're like, I don't want to leave this situation just to end up in something else where I'm just as unhappy or worse. So you get the confusion there, like, okay, I have options. Now what do I do? And the thing is, the Ace of Cups is going into the Ace of Wands, which is telling me action needs to happen. Action needs to happen. You need to make a choice. The choice needs to happen. You can't just sit around and wait. If you just sit on it and just wait on it, you might end up stuck where you are. You know, it's time to make a choice. It's time to choose. This is not easy for you, is what I'm getting. The Ten of Wands is like there's a lot of stress on you. In the environment, you got the Eight of Wands, or the Eight of Swords, which is telling me this is below the Ace of Wands, which how this is relating in is like these opportunities do not stay in front of you forever. You got a bunch you found, choose. If you don't choose within a certain time frame, these options move on. You're going to have to find other ones. And it's kind of like, well, I don't want that to happen. And that's why the stress is here. You're like, oh boy, I got to choose something. I've already decided I need to move on. But now I got to choose to go forward with something. And if I don't, I miss out. So you got the confusion with the stress, kind of like, I'm not really sure what to do. You're going to have to do your best. You're just going to have to, I would recommend, and I do this for myself, make a list of your options, boil it down to the top 3, and then what I do after that is pros and cons, like that's a normal thing, pros and cons for each, but then, like, how do you see yourself, after you've made this decision, how do you see yourself in 2 years, how do you see yourself in 5 years, how do you see yourself in 10 years, and do that for each of them. It probably will make it a lot easier on you, you know, which is best for you. It's going to take some strength to move you forward, but I feel like you got to do it. It's just kind of like, even when you finally do it, you just got to jump into that water. You're like, oh, that's going to be cold. Got to do it. And just jump. You just got to jump. It's not easy. I'm not feeling it's easy at all. It's just one of those things where, no, I've made my decision. I need to move on. I need to do this, so I got to move forward, and I got to start pushing forward to these other options. And even with the job situations, it's kind of like, all right, I got to start applying. It's time to do it, and I want to put best foot forward first, and let's see what happens from there. it's just unnerving because once you start the process, you're like, well, I'm not starting it just for fun. I'm starting it because I want the outcome. I'm looking for the resolution here. So once you step forward, though, I feel like completion is within your grasp because things are a little weird. Things go a little weird because I do feel like a transition is happening here. Whatever the problem was, this wasn't working. This was you're putting a lot of effort in and not getting anything extra out of it. You're going to move on from that. I don't feel like it's going to be that bad because it's the Six of Swords. There might be a little bit of contention. Maybe a little of a cold shoulder feel. Maybe a little bit of like, dirty look type feel. You know what I mean? But nothing like, no actual like problem. Like nothing, nobody advancing towards you and getting in your face about things. I do feel like moving on from that is not going to be as hard as you thought, which literally if this is hitting for you so far and you're thinking that's going to be a mess when I leave, they're saying you're going to be surprised that it's not. I feel like people are more likely going to get on your nerves than people coming right towards you. Like people might say things off color to you. I do get the Five of Swords with this, which in this deck is very interesting. I don't feel like there's actually confrontation, and I know the picture on there looks like it, but the way I usually read the Five of Swords is like a fruitless win, but I don't really get that either with this. I'm more getting like people might be saying things or implying things or giving like dirty looks, but I don't feel like it's anything you're biting on, and I just feel like there's a little bit of a weirdness there. But above this, you have facade. Kind of like, this isn't worth getting upset about. I'm not going to engage with this situation. Why? Why bother? Why get upset? If somebody wants to say something, let them say something. I'm free of this. Because I'm getting your facade above this, kind of like, it's here, you're feeling the tension a little bit, but it's not going past like dirty looks or somebody just implying something. And I just feel like you're walking away from it. You're just like, I'm not. It's been enough. I'm just not. I'm just not. You're moving on from whatever this situation is. I'm getting you're choosing well, which may seem like interesting because it's hard and you have a lot of people, but I feel like what you're going into is a lot better than where you've been. You're going into a better phase for a while is what it feels like for me. You got the King of Cups, speaks of maturity, speaks of being happy, speaks of like, to me this speaks of loyalty in an emotional sense, kind of like being cared for and caring for a situation, people realizing that the respect given to you is the respect you give in return. It seems to be making sense. Feeling like, now this is interesting, the High Priestess is kind of like, people might have tried to make you feel bad about what you did and the change that you made. The forgiveness is self-forgiveness. Kind of like realizing you made the better choice. You didn't need to stick in that situation any longer. It was an over and done situation. It was time to move on. The High Priestess with the forgiveness is saying, you know what? Everything wasn't sunshine and roses, but you know what? I did the best I could with what I had. And I made a good decision. There was no reason to stay in that. I needed to move forward, and I did what I had to do. So if you kind of had a hard time leaving the situation or felt a little guilty, I feel like you're going to be letting it go. The next situation is a lot better. I feel like for those of you this is really going to hit with, it's kind of saying it's time to jump. It's time to go forward. It's time to make a decision. Look for your options. Choose an option and just go. Gotta go. Keep momentum going forward. You'll be okay. I think we're there. All right. That's all I have for right now. Thank you for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James, the number 4, astral@gmail.com. Thank you.